Oh.
The Hamas and Israel war. Every hour in Gaza, there are 15 casualties, in which 6 of them are children, 42 bombs are dropped, and 12 buildings are destroyed. This is currently going on due to the war between Israel and Hamas. There are many different interpretations of who's justified in this war, but in reality, war has no justifications. However, there is a long-standing conflict between Gaza and Israel because of the history on the land, political standing of Gaza. Hamas, which is a terrorist group in Gaza, and the Israelite government are the biggest catapults and instigator of these tensions. So, why is there a war between Gaza and Israel in the first place? There has always been conflict between the Palestinians in Gaza versus the Israelis. At its core, the struggle revolves around competing claims to the same land and the quest for self-determination by both Palestinian people and the State of Israel. Over the years, issues such as control over territory, access to resources, and the status of Jerusalem have fueled ongoing tensions. According to AlJazeera.com, since 2007, Israel has maintained strict control over Gaza's airspace and territorial waters and restricted the movements of goods and people in and out of Gaza. Following Hamas's attack, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has threatened to turn Gaza into a deserted island and warned its residents to leave now. Hamas's attacks under the belief that they are defending their people and want justice for their land. However, many also comment on Hamas using their own people as shields. There's a lot of controversy over which side to support, but in reality, the innocent civilians of these lands are those who are in dire need of our assistance. Oopsies. Hamas and Israel are the biggest catapults towards this war and this humanitarian issue. Neither of these sides are in the right and are both killing innocent civilians for their own ideology and belief. October 7th, Hamas instigated the whole series of events that followed by firing a huge barrage of rockets into southern Israel. The group said it launched around 5,000 rockets in the initial barrage, but Israel's government said they launched around 2,500 rockets. An hour later, fighters crossed into Israel in an unprecedented operation through their land, air, and sea. So far, according to the live tracker, Hamas has killed around 12,000 people in Israel. More than 70% of those were civilians and not government officials. The war does target civilians, and it's been known. However, Israel has attacked Hamas in such a way that there are 15,207 casualties, and 6,150 of them were children. According to CFR.org, Israel has imposed a complete siege of the territory, cutting off electricity, water, and supplies of food and medicine are dwindling fast. Without fuel, meanwhile, Gaza's only power station has gone dark. The lack of electricity has shut down desalination and wastewater treatment plants, further compromising access to safe drinking water. Israeli air strikes have destroyed neighborhoods, schools, though the Israeli military has said that it's only targeting weapon storage centers and infrastructures used or occupied by Hamas militants. However, Israeli strikes target residential buildings and medical facilities have resulted in numerous civilian casualties. End of quote. The effects have been disastrous, and those are only the effects in Gaza. The effects of this war on the rest of the country is undoubtable, however. Each powerful nation has to choose a side based on their previous alliance or the country that really needs their help. China has already shown tremendous support to the Palestinians, which in turn causes more tension. There was another war taking place between Russia and Ukraine, in which the U.S. provided military and financial aid to Ukraine. The circumstances were similar between this war, Russia and Israel versus Gaza and Ukraine. However, the U.S. is in support of Israel and giving them aid. Therefore, China is now highlighting the U.S.'s double standards. USIP.org speaks on the subject, saying both Ukraine and Russia are seeking political and diplomatic support from international community. which is watching closely to see who supports and who condemns Hamas and Israeli actions. At the same time, the war in Gaza threatens to take global actions and resources away from Ukraine's effort to defend itself. This change in focus could lead to a diminution of economic and military assistance for that embattled country. For the United States, maintaining diplomatic, military, and economic support for Ukraine will remain a strategic priority despite these challenges. End of quote. To sum everything up, this is a developed and complex issue which affects the world as well. So, to conclude, oopsies. The conflict involving Hamas is a multifaceted and deep-rooted issue that requires careful consideration of historical, political, and social factors. While some argue that Hamas is a legitimate resistance movement fighting for the rights of Palestinians, its use of violence, including rocket attacks targeting civilians, has led many to designate it as a terrorist organization. The complexity of the situation demands a comprehensive approach that addresses the grievances and aspirations of both Palestinians and Israelis.